Today is Monday, September 29th. We have to tell you about two mass shootings, and while they're not connected, investigators say both suspects shared a surprisingly similar background. Also, could the head of Iowa's largest school district be in the country illegally? He was arrested for it. Plus, where a major hurricane is headed this morning, what's behind the medbed theory President Trump shared, then deleted over the weekend, and how an AI creation could become Hollywood's next big star. Those stories and even more news to know coming up. Welcome to the NewsWorthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, unfortunately, we have to start another show by telling you about more mass shootings in the U.S. In Michigan, at least 5 people were killed and 8 others hurt at a church in Grand Blanc Township just south of Flint. And that death toll could still rise. It happened during a large service for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, often called the Mormon Church. Authorities say a gunman rammed his vehicle through the front of the church and started shooting with an assault rifle, then purposely set a fire that eventually burned down the building. The suspect was killed in a shootout with officers. Police have since identified him as a U.S. Marine Corps veteran who fought in Iraq. At last check, investigators have not released a possible motive. Separately, another Marine veteran who served in Iraq is suspected in a different mass shooting over the weekend. Officers say he pulled up to a waterfront bar in Southport, North Carolina on his boat and started shooting an assault rifle from the water. 3 people died and 5 others were hurt, many of whom were tourists on vacation. Police are calling it a premeditated attack. The suspect was actually awarded a Purple Heart for his time in the Marine Corps. He was injured many times during his service. In fact, he said at one point he was even shot in the head by friendly fire, leaving him with a traumatic brain injury. Now he's facing murder charges and is expected in court today. We also want to quickly update you on a mass shooting we told you about over the summer. In this one, 4 people were killed in a Manhattan office building that was home to the NFL's headquarters. Well, now the medical examiner has confirmed the shooter had CTE. That's the degenerative brain disease linked to repeated head injuries in contact sports like football. The gunman played football in high school, and after the shooting, police found a note in which the shooter said his motive was anger at the NFL, accusing the league of hiding the effects of CTE. While the Concussion Legacy Foundation put out a statement to say having a brain disease can never fully explain a person's behavior, so CTE should not be seen as the sole cause of the tragedy. That said, common symptoms of the disease include problems controlling aggression and impulses. So the foundation said this is a good time for football organizations to take meaningful measures to prevent it. Federal immigration agents made a surprising arrest over the weekend. They detained the leader of Iowa's largest school district, saying he was living and working in the country illegally. Ian Roberts has been in charge of Des Moines Public Schools for more than 2 years now, overseeing more than 30,000 students and nearly 5,000 employees. The district says a third party did a background check on Roberts before he was hired and that he completed an I-9 that makes all workers hand over documents showing they're authorized to work. The school board's president now says Roberts has been a, quote, integral part of our school community. But ICE says he's a public safety threat. Before this, Roberts was a superintendent in Pennsylvania. His LinkedIn page shows he also worked for districts in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, St. Louis, New York, and Oakland, California. Now, Roberts is in federal custody. As of now, he hasn't commented on his arrest. Meanwhile, the immigration crackdown is continuing all over the country, and over the weekend, President Trump announced he's sending the U.S. military to Portland, Oregon to protect federal immigration facilities. The White House says the troops are needed to protect against left-wing rioters, who Trump also called domestic terrorists. But Oregon's Governor, Tina Kotek, says there's actually no threat to public safety that would warrant a military intervention. The state filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration, so expect this to play out in court. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is meeting with his top ally, President Trump, today, in the face of heavy international pressure to end the war in Gaza. Just last week, the Prime Minister got a pretty unfriendly welcome at the United Nations. The vast majority of officials and diplomats in the UN Assembly Hall seemed to walk out just as Netanyahu took the stage for his address. But his speech was still heard around the world, even in Gaza, since Netanyahu ordered Israel's military to position loudspeakers around the territory so Palestinians could hear what he had to say. In his speech, he said Israel will finish the job to wipe out Hamas in Gaza and will do so as quickly as possible. He called on Hamas to surrender and to release all of the Israeli hostages. The Trump administration denied a visa to Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, but he did speak to the United Nations remotely, saying Palestinians would never leave Gaza despite everything they've been through. Also at the UN, the Security Council brought back harsh sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program. Iran still says it's not trying to make nuclear weapons, and it has promised to retaliate against the sanctions. To be continued. President Trump is hosting last-minute talks today in hopes of avoiding a government shutdown later this week. He's meeting with congressional leaders on both sides of the aisle. The government will partially shut down at midnight on Wednesday morning if Congress cannot pass a spending deal by then. Speaking of Congress, it's looking more likely Republicans will be able to gain some seats after next year's midterms. Missouri just became the latest state to redraw congressional maps to help the GOP add an extra House seat. And Governor Mike Kehoe signed it yesterday. Texas was first to create new districts in favor of Republicans. And California is working on creating more Democratic districts, but voters still need to sign off on that one first. A few more states are expected to follow suit soon. Hurricane Umberto strengthened into a powerful storm over the weekend, but it's actually Tropical Storm Imelda that meteorologists are keeping their eye on. It's expected to strengthen into a hurricane. Imelda could cause flooding rain, especially in the coastal Carolinas. Then both storms could end up threatening Bermuda. Forecasters are asking everyone in their paths to watch for updates over the next few days. About 20 FBI agents have now lost their jobs over a viral picture taken more than 5 years ago. You may remember it. It showed FBI agents kneeling with protesters in Washington, D.C. during racial justice protests. At the time, some people in the FBI were mad about it, but others saw it as a possible de-escalation tactic during a tense time. Well, now, reports say those agents were fired for their actions. The Bureau said it does not comment on personnel matters, but this actually comes in the face of a broader purge at the FBI. And the FBI Agents Association put out a statement saying it strongly condemns the firings, that it keeps getting rid of valuable expertise, making it harder to recruit and hold on to skilled agents. So it now wants Congress to investigate FBI Director Kash Patel. Stay tuned. President Trump shared a video on social media that's been getting a lot of attention over the last couple of days. He has since deleted it, but still hasn't given much explanation. The video was apparently created with artificial intelligence, meant to look like a Fox News segment. It shows Trump promoting a cure-all bed, saying, quote, "Every American will soon receive their own MedBed card. With it, you'll have guaranteed access to our new hospitals led by the top doctors in the nation." But to be clear, there's no MedBed card or hospital system that's actually known to exist. And Fox News insists it never aired a segment about it. The MedBed conspiracy theory has spread in QAnon circles in recent years. The theory is that technology exists that can regrow missing limbs, cure cancer, and more, but that it's been suppressed by the so-called deep state. As of this morning, no comment from the Trump administration. There's an update to the listeria outbreak linked to pre-made chicken pasta meals at Walmart and Kroger. Now, unfortunately, at least 4 people are known to have died from it, and officials put out another health alert that may be related. It warned about similar products from Walmart and Trader Joe's that apparently use the same source for its ingredients. At Walmart, it's the linguine with beef meatballs, and at Trader Joe's, it's the Cajun-style blackened chicken breast fettuccine Alfredo. Separately, you'll want to check your freezers for State Fair corn dogs on a stick or Jimmy Dean pancakes and sausage on a stick. The USDA says pieces of wood may be embedded in the batter, and several customers have gotten hurt already. If you have any of these products at home, you're being told to throw them away or return them. Of course, we posted the links with more information on our website, so go to thenewsworthy.com, click episodes, and find today's date. A new actress is apparently attracting interest from talent agents, even though she's not human. She's AI. Her name is Tilly Norwood, and she's the first creation to come out of a recently launched AI talent studio called Shikoya. The studio head says there will be announcements about new high-profile projects in the coming months. That includes which agency Norwood signs with. But some human actors aren't so happy about it. For example, Matilda star Mara Wilson asked, quote, "What about the hundreds of living young women whose faces were composited together to make her? You couldn't hire any of them?" Others joked about it, like White Lotus star Lucas Gage, who said, quote, "She was a nightmare to work with." Either way, AI has been used in several ways in the movie and TV industries already. It's been used to de-age actors, bring back the voices of late actors, create entire movie trailers, and more. Well, that's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. The latest data shows inflation is still rising, but Americans keep spending anyway. The Commerce Department put out the latest inflation numbers, and when you take out food and energy prices that are typically the most volatile, so-called core inflation was up almost 3% as compared to last year. That's slightly up from last month, too. But that same report shows Americans' personal spending rising for a third month in a row. Even when adjusted for inflation, consumer spending was up almost 0.5% last month. So now there are still questions about what the Federal Reserve may do next. At the next policy meeting, it could cut interest rates again or keep them right where they are. But with the data being pretty mixed at this point, economists are waiting to see what September's jobs report will have in store. Thank you so much for joining us and listening today and for your support of the show. We'll be back with even more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.